Hi everybody, how are you? I'm in the van up here in the Adirondacks, and I just finished reading a book that I really want to share with you. I think it's going to be very inspiring and have some really great information for anybody, actually. The name of the book, surprisingly, is called Live Long, Die Short. And it's a little bit of a shocking title, but it's what the author, whose name is Roger Landry, is trying to say is that you can live straight through an amazing, healthy life until the day that you die. That you don't have to have a decline in your health or wellness. The book just outlines a lot of really fun stuff, really great stuff, and I wanted to share that with you today. So the author, Roger Landry, again, is a doctor, a medical doctor, and a master of public health. And he identifies himself as a baby boomer. He identifies himself as an early boomer, which would be, it goes from 1946 to 63 or something like that. So an early boomer would be being born in the 40s. I don't know how many people are aware of this, but the word boomer is now like another word for old fogey. If you're a boomer, you're an old fogey. And if you also don't know, the term boomer came about because at the end of World War II, all the soldiers came home, and all of a sudden there were lots of babies being born for the next 20 years. So there was a baby boom. So you are a boomer. The reason why this is important to everyone is that the baby boomer group is among the largest demographic in the country, in the United States, and age demographic. And that what's happening is that people who are boomers are now anywhere from 55 to 75 years old, and they're aging poorly. Or some of them, because the point in the book here is how the boomers are now kind of embracing a new sort of aging, which I will get into in a minute. But so that means that a very large group of people may need nursing facilities, hospitals, assisted living at a rate which has never happened before because of the large population. So that's one very important first part of the book. The second very, very important part of the book is that this is a quote now from the book. 70% of illnesses are due to lifestyle, poor lifestyle. So poor health, 70% of it is poor lifestyle. 70%. That means that 70% of your health issues can be changed, or 70% of the population's health issues can be changed by changing lifestyle habits. Dr. Landry actually explains how all this happened. How did we get in such terrible health? He starts out by talking about primitive life, and then industrialized life, and then he calls it technological life. And you can guess, the primitive life was sort of like, you want to say cave people or tribal culture, where people are sharing, where they are moving around, they're preparing their food, they're gathering their food, they're hunting for food, so they're physically active, but they're also a sharing community, and they also really respect their elders because the elders have the wisdom and the stories and the advice that the younger people need. Then people started farming in the tribal culture, they started agriculture, and after, again, still being active, still being community minded, but then the factories started coming in the mid 1800s, and this led into industrialization, industrial lifestyle. Now, many of the farmers thought this could be good. Farming, to me, farming is as high risk as Wall Street. I mean, you have the weather, you have all sorts of diseases of the plants, and I mean, to me, that just seems like a really high risk business. It's as enjoyable and incredible as it can be, as it is. But I'm sure that many farmers, or maybe members of the family, said maybe we should go work in the factories where there's not so many injuries. We're sure to get a paycheck every time. And so it seemed kind of appealing. So people started working in the factories, but that removed everyone from a physical movement life. It sort of turned them, I don't know, into robots or whatever, but a lot of it is, mechanized, it's repetitive over and over. Suddenly you have these working hours that you have to do. Let's say it's from 8 in the morning till 8 at night. I know there were terrible conditions sometimes. And same with farming, you have to work those long hours. But with farming, you could stop if you needed to for half an hour, or you could go get your meal when you were ready. You didn't have to when you needed it. You didn't. So it was. I think it was much more natural rhythm to your work than in a factory, and especially with many of the factories having oppressive managers and oppressive owners. That the psychological part of that. So people's health started to break down at that point. The families broke apart into individual houses, and that was kind of the start of part of this decline. And then that brings us to the technological culture, which is, of course, all computers and office life. Um, People overcame a lot of the unions came around, overcame a lot of the working conditions. Computers came. The work was so much lighter. Um, but guess what? You're sitting at a desk for 8 hours. And sitting, the saying is sitting is the new smoking. Um, and you are ergonomically taxing yourself by staying in the same position all day like that. A little bit of an unnatural position. You're not really moving or walking or anything. I know people try. There's a lot of things you can do to help it, such as a certain furniture that you can use, or you can go for a walk every 2 hours or whatever, but you're still in front of a screen. So, and then, and that's tiring too, just being like that, sitting in one place like that. And so by the time you get home, who knows if you're going to feel like exercising or doing anything like that. You probably have a lot of snacks at your desk. You may not be eating as well. And then, of course, the crunch of the 9 to 5 um, hours where maybe at 5 o'clock you have to run and get your children from soccer and then quickly go to the supermarket to get the dinner ingredients. And so by the time you get home, everybody's just exhausted. So a lot of it is this unnatural lifestyle. And Dr. Landry really calls upon us to try to return more to a natural lifestyle where you are moving and you are sharing, and where elders are valued. And that's the other thing in the technological world. Elders aren't particularly valued because they don't really know that much about computers, some of them. And nowadays that's catching up, and that's happening. But the elders are pushed away, and that's um, ridiculous because you're actually pushing away a really valuable resource simply because someone is older and may not understand at that moment what is happening, but it doesn't mean that you can't teach them or whatever. So one of the things that I really admire about this book is that it's not just telling information to us. He actually offers solutions, I guess. And he also includes an assessment test in the book. Which is fabulous. It's a 12-question test, and it has to do with sort of all the things that I just mentioned: your lifestyle, your attitudes towards your society and towards your body, and things like that. And then after you take the test and you have your little score, you check with these, not answers, but these paragraphs that he's written about each of the scores, and actually makes recommendations about what you can do to improve. Right. So after the questionnaire, he there are 10 chapters, each based on a health tip. And some of the tips, I have some notes here. Find your purpose. One chapter is called Use It or Lose It. Everybody knows you should be moving and exercising. And I'll tell you right now, exercising does not have to be boring or painful. There are so many fun things you can be doing and enjoying, whether it's hiking or biking or horseback riding or canoeing. All of those things help you. You do not have to sit and do calisthenics in your living room or in the gym. You can tie your activities into some kind of an event, such as a charity walk or a history bike ride, or even if you're competitive, maybe a 5K, a local 5K. You can tie those activities into something meaningful. You do not have to sit there and gruelingly do calisthenics or anything like that. The other chapter, stay connected to the world. And one thing that's kind of cute, he says, never act your age. And I think anyone at any age, maybe over 40, would say, I don't feel 40. I still feel 20. I still feel inside. And yeah, so just try to stay childlike a little bit. And also, he suggests to stay connected to children if you have grandchildren, or a volunteer, and just stay connected to that life that children display, and the fun that they display. He also talks about his prediction for baby boomers and what he sees happening. It's easy to predict old age based on what we've seen in past generations, but that probably is not true anymore. That's probably not going to happen anymore, because we have so much information available to us, and so many inexpensive, easy, fun forms of staying fit and healthy. And some don't even cost any money, like he said, find a purpose in your life, and things like that. So Dr. Landry feels that baby boomers are going to be staying fitter and healthier. They're going to be staying in community leadership. Many people I know are involved in their town committees and somehow, or on the board of a library or something like that. He feels that people are going to stay in those roles. He also feels that they're going to be valuing experiences and growth. So, and they're also going to be breaking from stifling social norms, such as status and entitlement. So what I'm picturing is people who are saying, I don't need to live in this fancy neighborhood. What I'm after is a place where I can have great fun experiences and where I can learn things. So maybe, I don't know, a place that has a lot of maybe adult education around, or a favorite, if you do a lot of yoga, a favorite yoga community or something like that. And that when they go home, they're going home to these homes that are practical and pleasant, but not necessarily with a swimming pool and all the cars and everything like that. That baby boomers are kind of shedding that, and getting more towards like the essence of life. And the final part of the book, it turns out that Dr. Landry is very involved in senior living facilities. It was unclear to me exactly what role he has. It almost sounds like he is kind of like a manager of many facilities, or involved with many facilities. And he thinks they are just abhorrent. He says when he's talking about the things that he talked about in his book, and you try to match it up to the senior living facilities now, he's like, no, so bad. Excuse me, because he sees that as a person, you continue to grow to the very end. And you're always growing and wanting to know and learning. Whereas most senior facilities are set up to entertain people. So you could say, well, there's bingo, or there's a card game tonight, or something like that, which is great. It's, you can socialize and do stuff like that, but that's not enough for a human being to continue to thrive. So he feels that we need to overhaul that. I mean, things like bringing in maybe a speaker, an educational speaker, or offering a course or something in the senior living facility, to also try to encourage people to not even have to go into some of those facilities, and just a whole bunch of other ideas that kind of turns the whole senior facility world around. And he talks about that for a good chapter in his book, if that interests you. The main message of the book, if I was to make a synopsis of it, is the fact that we keep growing as humans. We can stay healthy. Even our brains can stay healthy with different activities. Mental decline is not a given. There's all sorts of things you can do. I mean, I know one of the things is juggling, or crossword puzzles, things like that, keeping your brain active, that the brain cells actually will renew, that the synapses will reconnect, and that's something kind of new that we're learning. You do not have to have mental decline. So he's saying that our bodies don't have to decline at the rate they're declining, which I completely agree with, which is one of the reasons why I make videos like this about aging, and about how we do have tons of hope and tons of ways of staying healthy. He also says that we can be driven to stay healthy by choosing to be vibrant and being involved and staying connected. And that it with society, with communities, with our families, it kind of feeds on itself. Like, say you volunteer at your church or your food pantry or something like that. There's people there that are doing the same thing. It becomes a social network, and you start becoming part of that, and you're staying vibrant. And that's going to make you want to stay healthy. You're going to want to eat well so that you can help at the food pantry, or you're going to maybe go out to dinner with the volunteers of the food pantry or something like that. So that's one thing to stay motivated and driven. And the other thing is that older people really are models for the younger generations. So again, the book is called Live Long, Die Short. The author is Roger Landry, MD, and it's very easy to read. You can actually skim through it at first and then go back and read in more details. It's very fun and exciting. Like I said, there's the questionnaire, there's a chapter of each of the tips, and actually advice, really, of how to approach it. So there's solutions in this book for yourself. And I say go prove that you know what's really true, and go prove that everybody stays healthy and active all the way until the end, until they suddenly die short. And hopefully you have an incredibly vibrant life and healthful life. And I wish that for everyone, and I know it's true. So I don't know how many times I can say it. But thank you so much for listening, and I hope you go out and find the book. You can get it in your library, you can read a little bit about it online, or you can actually just order it for yourself. So thank you so much, and good luck, and I look forward to seeing you in person soon, and I hope you have a great day.